Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Avamahe Kavim Kavinam Upavashravastramam Jeshtarajam Brahmanan Brahmanaspata Anushnunnoti Bisida Sadhanam. Om Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Om Keshwaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhvaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Vishnuvaya Namaha, Matsudaya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Hrishikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Sankarshnaya Namaha, Vasudevaya Namaha, Pradyumnaya Namaha, Aniruddhaya Namaha, Purushottamaya Namaha, Dokshaya Namaha, Narasimhaya Namaha, Achyutaya Namaha, Janadraya Namaha, Upendraya Namaha, Hare Namaha, Sri Krishna, Namaha Sri Krishna. अम्ब परमेश्वरि अखिलांडेश्वरि आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां. अम्ब परमेश्वरि अखिलांडेश्वरि आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां. अम्ब परमेश्वरि अखिलांडेश्वरि आदि पराशक्ति पालय मां. ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विच्चे. ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विच्चे. Om Haim Ring Klim Chamundai Viche. Om Haim Ring Klim Chamundai Viche. Hari Om. Dear devotees and friends, we came to the third chapter of the uh, fourth skanda. In this previous chapter, we were discussing about questions of Janamejaya. Janamejaya, king of Hastinapura, is asking several questions to Vyasa Maharishi regarding Krishna Avatar. So now Vyasa Maharishi started telling, O King Janamejaya, the incarnation of Hari and the incarnation of the Amsha avatars of all the other devas are accountable to many causes. The chief cause being karma, the minor causes being many. The cause of incarnation of Vasudeva, that is Krishna's father, Devaki and Rohini in detail. Once on occasion of Sriman Kashyapa borrowed the Kamadhenu from the Varuna, god of heaven, and for the sacrificial purposes of yajna, yahoga, and though he was entreated by Varuna often and often he was asking return to cow, and Kashyapa continued using the Kamadhenu's milk for the yaga yajna, and he did not return to him within that time left. Varuna became very angry, so he felt sorry for Kashyapa. He went to Brahma, the Lord of creation, and told him humbly all that would happen. He borrowed a cow, but he didn't return the cow back to heaven, and about his sorrows. O glorious one, Maharshi Kashyapa is now almost infatuated with this sacrifice, and though I have tried all my means, he is not returning Kamadhenu back to heaven. I could not hear the pitiful cries and wailings of the cows of bereavement from their mother, and I cursed Kashyapa, saying, You would go down and take birth in the human form in the world as a cow herd, and your two wives also are to go there are as human mortals, suffering under the greatest difficulties and dangers. So this is the curse of Varunadeva of heaven to Kashyapa and his wives, two wives. Because they did not return the Kamadhenu back to the heaven, this sort of predicament came. O Brahmana, on seeing the distressed condition of the cows, I cursed. O Janamejaya, hearing this, the lotus-born Brahma called Kashyapa before him and asked, O fortunate one, why have you taken the Kamadhenu from Varunadeva and not returned to him? And why have you committed an offense in not returning the cows to him? Bhagavan, you are intelligent, you know everything fully, knowing that it is a sin to steal others' property. Why have you committed the unlawful act of stealing away the cows? Oh, what is the wonderful influence of covetousness! Even those that are great are not free from clutches of greed. Covetousness is the source of all sins, is unapproved by the sages and leads to hell. O Maharshi Kashyapa is not able to leave this vicious habit even now. What shall I do? I will hence count greed as more powerful than even fate, the ruler of all destinies. Blessed are those saints that have devoted themselves wholly to the attainment of peace, who are a tranquil hearted, lead a hermit life, and don't ask themselves of anything from anybody. Verily, those are blessed. This covetousness is a powerful enemy. It is always unholy and odious. See, its influence has overpowered the Maharshi Kashyapa and has tied him down to an ordinary affection and has urged him to commit a sinful act. Then the Prajapati Brahma, to preserve the keep the prestige in the name of justice and religion, cursed his own very dear grandson Kashyapa, the best of munis, and said, "Go to the earth in your Amsha and take your birth in the Yadu clan. He be united with your wives and work as a coward." Vyasa Maharishi said, "O king, this was the curse of this was cursed the Maharshi Kashyapa by Brahma also and Varuna also to come down to the earth as Amsha Avatara to relieve the earth of her burden. Diti too becoming grieved much with sorrows cursed Aditi that 7 of her children. Diti too becoming grieved much of the sorrows cursed Aditi that 7 of her sons would be killed consequently after their births. Janamejaya said, O best of munis, why was it that he so cruelly cursed his sister Aditi, the mother of Indra? Kindly explain to me the cause of this and oblige. I am sorry to hear this curse. Suta Maharshi said to the munis in Naimisharanya, thus asked by the son of Parikshith, the Janamejaya, Vyasa Maharshi, the son of Satyavati, himself replied to the king about their cause in the following words. Vyasa Maharshi said, Daksha Prajapati had 2 daughters, Diti and Aditi. These 2 of high rank were married to Kashyapa and they were his favorites. Aditi gave birth to the very powerful Indra, the king of Devas. Diti too asked for a son of the same strength, prowess and splendor as those of Indra. Diti, of beautiful dark blue eyes, entered to her husband and said, Give me a son, O giver of due respects to your body. Everybody who shall be a hero as long as Indra, religious and indomitable energy. The Muni said to her, O dear, be peaceful. I advise you to take a vow, practice a rite, and when the period of your practice will be over, you will get a son like Indra. Diti promised to act according to his word and took an oath. And when she practiced the vow, Maharshi Kashyapa impregnated the seed in her womb. Diti also bore the seed in her womb according to the usual rite. The excellent fair complexion Diti remained sacred, observed all the rules, and deeply intent on her vow, subsisted only on milk and slept on the ground. Thus, when the fetus was fully developed, Diti began to look white and full of splendor. On seeing her thus, Aditi became anxious and thought, if there be born of Diti a son like the powerful Indra, then my son will be, in no doubt, be deprived of his brilliancy and splendor. The proud Aditi, thinking thus, said to Indra, O son, there in the womb of Diti is your powerful enemy. O beautiful one, even now think out how you can kill your enemy. Before the child is born of the womb, try to destroy it. This is what Aditi suggested her son Indra to kill the baby in the womb. Since that time, I have looked on my co-wife Diti of beautiful eyes and proud. This is the one and only thought that troubles the peace in the innermost of my hearts. The enemy, if he firmly gets hold, like a fully developed consumption, cannot be killed. Therefore, the intelligent person should destroy the enemies when they are in their bull and the buds. O Satkrita, my heart is being pierced wholly by an iron fork when I see the womb of Diti. Kill it by any means you can. That's what Aditi ordered the Indra. O minded one, if you like my welfare, then destroy the fetus in the womb of Diti by any of the existent means, samadana or strength, and thus remove the cause of the grief in my heart. Vyasa Maharishi said, on hearing his mother Indra, the king of immortals thought over all the means and went into his stepmother Diti. That evil-minded Indra bowed down at the foot of the Diti with humility and addressed her with words sweet but full of poison. O mother, you have become very weak, lean, and thin in the practice of your woe. I have come to serve you. In order me now what I can do for you. O chaste one to your husband, I want to shampoo your feet. To serve one's guru means to earn righteousness and immortality. O mother, swear on oath, I don't make any difference between you and my mother, Aditi. Saying thus, he touched her feet and began to shampoo her legs. The beautiful Aditi, tired of the woe, lean and thin, thus being shampooed and having full faith in Indra's words, fell to deep sleep. Seeing her sleep, Indra, with thunderbolt, his hand, that's Vajrayuda, take a subtle form, take a very subtle form, small form, and by the influence of his yogic power, entered carefully into her womb quickly and cut as under the fetus in the womb into 7 parts. The child in the womb, struck by the thunderbolt, cried out. Indra spoke to the child gently, do not cry. And in the meanwhile, cut each of the 7 parts, developed into 7 parts again. Thus, O king, the 49 Marutas were born. When the good-natured Diti awoke, she came to know that Indra has treacherously cut the fetus in her womb and became very sorry and angry. Knowing that all these treacherous acts are really done under the advice of her sister, the truthful Diti, who was under the vow, cursed the Aditi and Indra, saying that as her son Indra has treacherously cut the fetus in her womb, Indra's kingdom over the 3 worlds would be destroyed. Indra's kingdom over the 3 worlds will be destroyed. And as the sinful Aditi has secretly caused the destruction of my son, her sons too would also die after their birth. Consequently, and she would dwell in the prison house in the much trouble and anxiety, and would also bear stillborn sons in her next birth. Vyasa Maharishi said, O king of Janamejaya, Maharishi Kashyapa, the son of Marichi, hearing the curse, allayed her anger with loving words. O blessed one, do not be angry. Your sons would all become very powerful and would be called Marutas. They would be companions and friends to Indra. Oh dear, your curse won't be fruitless. In the 28th mantra, the end of the Dwapara Yuga, your curse will bear fruit. Then Aditi, sinful of her jealousy and anger, will go down on the earth to take the human birth through her Amsha part and suffer according to your curse. Varuna too had become very grieved and cursed her. And due to both these curses, this Aditi will be born as a woman, and she is the Devaki in Dwarpayuga. O king, the fair complexion Diti, thus consoled by her husband, became glad. O king, the fair complexion Diti, thus consoled by her husband, became glad and did not utter any more unpleasant words. O king, thus I have narrated to you the cause of the previous curse. O best of kings, thus Aditi was born as Devaki out of her Amshas. Here ends the 3rd chapter of the 4th book of Mahapurana of Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham of 18,000 verses on the former curse of Vasudeva and Devaki by Maharshi Vedavyasa. Now we are entering the chapter 4th on Adharma. What is Dharma? What is Adharma? The king Janamejaya spoke. O highly honored, intelligent one, I have heard the anecdote just related to me by you. I am very much bewildered. This samsara world is base incarnate. I wonder how the jivas, entangled in its meshes, can again be freed. When the son of Kashyapa, whose kingdom is 3 worlds, can commit such an heinous act, and what wonder then that any other ordinary person would do more blamable things. On the pretense of serving and on a solemn oath, when a man can enter into his stepmother's womb and take away the life of the son, what more heinous and dreadful can take place than this? When the preserver and controller of religion and ruler of the three worlds can do such acts, you cannot expect that any other person would desert from committing heinous, contemptible acts. O world teacher, that is for Veda Vyasa. Indeed, my grandfather did unjustifiable, horrible, mean acts in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It is really wonderful. Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, even Yudhishthira, who is the part incarnate of Dharma, all these were urged by Vasudeva into this contrary religious act. These personages are all born of Deva Amshas, devoted to religion and intelligent. These know the transitory nature of this world. How can these commit such a mean, blamable things? O glory of Brahmins, what faith or regard can we have for a religion when such high-souled persons commit such irreligious acts? Indeed, there is a doubt whether religion exists at all or not. Best of the Munis, my heart is agitated and very much on hearing these incidents. If it be said that the word of the aptas, seers, aptar, is a sufficient guarantee for the entity of the religion, it may then be questioned where there is such an apt holding such a pure religious body. All those persons who are attached to worldliness are bent on all worldly objects with their whole head and heart. These therefore cannot aptas. ಆಪ್ತರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ relatives. When self-interest is obstructed, jealousy and anger arise. And to secure one's self-interest, out of jealousy arise untruthful words and harmful act. Even the pure, excellent, virtuous Sri Krishna, with full consciousness, had to assume under pretense of a Brahmin form of killing Jarasandha. So that's an incident where Jarasandha was killed by Bhima. At that incident, Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima, all the three went in the disguise of a Brahmin's form of killing Jarasandha when they approached. Just as the holy Sri Hari assumed a false appearance to kill Jarasandha as a Brahmin, similarly Arjuna too did a false sacrifice to accomplish his ends. Where is then one who can claim to be an apta? And what proof is there of existence of such an apta? Apta mitra ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ. What sort of sacrifice was this? Did it lead to heaven in the next world? Or did it lead to a glory? Or did it serve the cause of any goodwill? Why was it deprived of that peace and rest? It was performed with a view to kill Shishupala and others. The Pandits of yore declare the truth is the first pada, cleanliness, the second compassion, the third and charity is the fourth pada of the foot. Dharma, religion, thus devoid of these, how can religion stand with due regards from all? The Pandits declare that the truth is the first pada, cleanliness the second, compassion is the third, and charity is the fourth foot of Dharma. Thus, devoid of these, how can religion stand with a due regards from all? How can an act bear good fruits which has no trace of virtue in it? It seems no one had any trace of faith and steadiness in one's religion. The Pandavas did sacrifice out of arrogance. How can they be aptas? Vishnu, the Lord of the universe, assumed his dwarf Vamana Avatara with the express object to cheat Bali Chakravarti, the king of Daityas. Now, O Muni, the king Bali performed 100 sacrifices. He was the protector of the Vedas, virtuous, charitable, truthful, and self-controlled. Why was such a man dislodged from his position by Vishnu, the powerful, who was victorious in this affair? Was he the Bali who has cheated, or was it Vamanadeva, the expert in making nice pretense? Who was the better of the two? I have got grave doubts on this point. Oh, the best of twice born, Veda Vyasa Maharshi, you are the composer of the Puranas, virtuous and liberal-hearted. Speak what is true, and thus tranquil my heart. Vyasa Maharshi said, O King Janamejaya, the victory was all certainly Bali's. Inasmuch as he fulfilled his promise, give over his kingdom to fourth to Vishnu, and inasmuch as Vishnu in his fifth or a dwarf incarnation deceived Bali, he had to become a dwarf. That is a small mean person, indicated even by shortness of his body. O king, there is nothing superior in religion to the truth. See, Srihari even had to become, for his falsehood, a gatekeeper of Bali Chakravarti. O king, it is hardly possible for a human being to observe in every way the injunctions of the truth. Powerful indeed is Maya, composed of the three qualities and various forms. By her is created this universe, made manifold by the admixture of the three qualities, Sattva-guna, Rajasa-guna, and Tamasa-guna. How can you expect, therefore, the truth to be observed wholly without the least violation by a deceiver? This world is made up of the mixture of Rajaguna. O king, know this as the very everyday routine of things in nature. It's only the munis and hermits that can observe pure truth, and that is why they are without any attachment. They do not accept anything from any other body. They are desireless, and they all have no rough wear and tear of the world, because the hermits and munis and saints are observing pure truth, and that is why they are without any attachment. They do not accept anything from any other body. They are desireless, and they all have no rough wear and tear of the world. They exist as perfect examples. Their case is quite separate. All the others are caught under the they exist as a perfect examples. Their case is quite separate. All the others are caught under the meshes of the three Mayic gunas, three Mayas of the Bhagavati, that is Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Sattvika Guna. O best of kings, Dharma Shastra, Puranas, and Angas, the Vedas, are full of diverse opinion on any one point under consideration for their composers or under the influence of different gunas. The Suguna persons, that is the person under Maya, the Suguna works composed of qualities, and Nirguna persons, that is person above Maya, do not do any Saguna work. And when the gunas are mixed with one another, they cannot remain pure. That's why they exhibit qualities of those gunas with which they are mixed. O king, one is influenced by Maya. No sooner one takes one's birth in this world, so that nobody can remain steady in this pure, steady maxim of truth, untainted by any falsehood or deceit. The sense organs, indriyas, confound the buddhi, reason, and make one follow the path of enjoying sensual things. Mind is attached to senses and follows diverse ways, urged on the furiously by the three gunas. O king, all the beings, Brahma down to the moving, all the beings, Brahma, down to the moving and non-moving things, fall under the delusion of Maya. She plays with them. This Maya is always imposing on all, and she is incessantly making formations and transformation in this universe. O King of Kings, the man under the influence of action takes recourse to this untruth. That his actions arise first from this untruth, from the very moment of his birth. Persons, when they do not get their desired objects, after they having pondered how to secure the sensual objects, take recourse to pretext, and from that pretext do many sinful acts. Lust, anger, and avarice, these three are very powerful enemies. Lust, anger, avarice are very powerful enemies. The jivas, under their influence, cannot distinguish the right from the wrong. When wealth, might, and rank come to the person, he gets deep-rooted ahankara and becomes very egoistic. From ahankara, delusion comes. From delusion, insensibility, and death can show. Here, men argue mentally many plans, and then jealousy, intolerance, and enmity spring in the heart. Next arise out of delusion hope, thirsty, hope, thirst, misery, and low-spiritedness, arrogance, and irreligiousness. All these qualities come in the mixture of gunas. It is through ahankara that people are led to perform sacrifices, charities, visit places and pilgrimage, practice oaths and rules for religious rites and ceremonies. Hence, these sacrificial acts, etc., proceeding from ahankara, are unable to remove the clouds of impurity from their mind, as observance of purity and cleanliness does, especially when any action is done through greed or undue affection as its motive. It cannot be pure in every respect. Therefore, at the commencement of any sacrifice or yajna yaga, the wise persons look at the purity of sacrificial things. Dravya Shuddhi is called Dravya Shuddhi. Atma Shuddhi, Deha Shuddhi, Dravya Shuddhi, all these articles that are collected without injuring others are the best in religious acts. When you collect something for yajna yaga, you are not supposed to injure others. O best of kings, if the things acquired by injuring others be utilized in any auspicious act, they yield contrary result at the time of fruition. It is the only whose mind is very pure and undefiled, who gets the results wholly auspicious from any sacrificial act. Minds defiled do not acquire their proper desired objects. When the preceptor and the priest ordained are sincere and pure, moreover, when the place, moment, act, sacrificial things, the mantras and the sacrificial are all holy, then and there only the full results accrue in their entirely to the sacrificer. In the sacrifice yajna yaga be intended for the destruction of one's enemy or for a personal motive and one's gain, it converts auspicious results into those that are inauspicious and lead to ruin in the end. Selfish persons are unable to ascertain which actions are auspicious and which are not. They depend on the circumstances, what they call daiva, and the people do act sinful instead of virtuous. The Devas and demons are all created by Brahma, the Prajapati, the creator. They all are selfish. Hence, they are at war and war with each other. The Devas are born from the Sattva the human beings are sprung from the Rajoguna and the birds are sprung from the Tamoguna. O king, when the Devas born of the Sattva are always engaged in inimical actions, what wonder then is there that the lower ones would be at war with one another? O king, when the Devas are always discontented, filled with the jealousy and envy, at war amongst each other, and obstructions and obstructors of the ascetics and the austere persons, then know that this universe has sprung from ahankara, egoism. How can you expect them to be free from feelings of anger, jealousy, etc.? Here ends the fourth chapter of the fourth book of Mahapurana, Sri Devi Bhagavatham, of 18,000 shlokas on Adharma by Maharishi Vedavyasa. Thus ends the fourth chapter of the fourth book. Om Namostu Anantaya Sahasramurtaye Sahasrapadakshi Shirorabhave Sahasranamne Purushashute Sahasrakoti Yugadarane Namaha Sahasrakoti Yugadarane Namaha Akashat Paridam Yathagat Sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskara Sri Kesham Parigatyo Namaha Sarva Vedeshat Pundam Sarva Tirtesh Yatpalam Tatpalam Purnapti Vasanad Vasudevasya Vastante Jagatrayam Sarva Bhuta Nivaso Si Vasudemrute Kayena Vacha Manasendrva बुद्धात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणाय समर्पयामि हरि ओम तत्सत् हरि ओम